in no particular order. This is looking at you from behind. Your atlas goes way up to the right, putting pressure on the right vertebral artery. Typically, is what we see. The pulse wave Doppler we did before and after showed a big difference in the waveforms after we adjust. Typically, when we see somebody like this and we adjust it down, we'll see that most of the blood is going through one vertebral artery and the other one is restricted, and then afterwards they become more symmetrical. And that is what we saw in yours, I'm sure, once we look at the report and look at the waveforms, but it was a completely different thing. C2 spinous is turned to the right. And of course, but the murder weapon, the big thing that's making you miserable is that the atlas and the styloid process are choking the jugular on the right. Complete choking. There is nothing there. So these styloid processes start off really short, and then as you get whiplashed around, they calcify and they get longer and longer. There's a ligament that you don't see here. It'll eventually get, well, if somebody could live that long, they would get longer and longer. Let's move this around a little bit so you can see it better. So this is the styloid process that is choking your jugular on the right. So here we see the contrast coming out of your head. This is the blood. You have dual exhaust. You have two major drainages for your blood out of your head. Some people have collateral veins that can adapt when these get pinched. You don't have any collateral. I'm sorry, this is the only collateral you got. That's nothing. And so this bone is, it's between a rock and a hard place. So you can see the contrast material showing that the blood is draining the head here. Then you see it stopping, and then you see it actually kind of pick up again. And the only reason it's actually getting past that blockage, and look at that. This is your internal carotid coming across here. Yeah, pay attention to the internal carotid over here, because that's going to come into play in just a moment when I show you that your left styloid actually is making contact and pinching, stabbing your left. Oops. Your left carotid. Okay, let's get that a little bit better. All right, so we have this styloid completely occluding the jugular vein on the right. There's the vein going through there. Really bad. So this styloid has to come out. Dr. Hepworth will jump on that with both feet. When he sees that, he'll definitely remove that. And then the other one, which is also very interesting. So here you can see on this side, the atlas, jugular vein, and styloid process. There's space in there. There's enough drainage. And when we measured the blood flow through there, it was at 107 centimeters per second, which is a lot.
118.
118. Thank you for better memory. So it was a lot. This is basically your main drainage out of the head. Oh, and then when we measured the drainage here, it was basically 0 with a little blurb of I don't know, was it
18? 0 to 18.
0 to 18, right? So it was mostly like nothing. The pressure builds up, and then a little blurb of blood comes out of it, instead of normal. Okay, so what was interesting here is that this styloid also very long. You can see there's space there, but this tusk is attached to the skull. So when you bring your head down, whenever you bring your head down, this styloid is in front of the jugular. It's going to completely occlude it, and it's going to stab your left carotid artery, internal carotid nonetheless. So here we have it. There's a good shot of it. Because I had a thought in my mind. Some of these aren't as calcified as this, and you can see little spaces in there, and I'll break them loose. I'll go in there and break them loose. In your case, I'm like, okay, Lord, can I break this guy's loose? Well, this one over here, actually, I'm safe. I don't have to worry about it pinching the jug. I'm not going to kill you by the carotid being dissected if I broke the styloid off. But over here, I would. If I tried to break the styloid off, it goes right into your internal carotid on the left. And when you bring your head down, this is stabbing right into that left internal carotid. There you can see it. It's in front. These two, the jugular. So when you bring your head down, you absolutely occlude the blood drainage out of the head, and you're stabbing the left carotid. What else we got here? I mean, that was, oh my gosh. That was the main thing. Well, I'm sorry, the other thing that we speak of is that when we muscle tested you, we had you lift your head up, and we pushed you from left and right, and there was a wobble there. You couldn't hold your head right. It was a give. That's because these muscles in here, here it is. These muscles in here are not able to modulate. So here what we're seeing, these are the first, let me get that artery out of there a little bit better. Okay, here you can see these first ribs have been pulled down. Here you can see these two ribs are the second thoracic ribs sit between these two vertebrae. This one used to sit up high like that. That used to sit up high like that. And I'm saying my current working diagnosis is that they got pulled down by the harness. Now we see people in car accidents where the seatbelt will pull it down and they'll be their first rib will be down on one side, causing them to be wobbly. The head is not able to be stable. You got it pulled down on both sides. Why do we care about that so much? All right. So this is the first rib in question. Your first ribs on both sides have been dislodged. So these muscles, the scalenes, the middle scalene, the anterior scalene, they come up, and what is this attached to? C2. We already know that C2 on you is rotated significantly to the right. I believe it was 13 degrees. Actually, I measured 13, and it was probably really more like 14. Anyway, so these muscles are not able to stabilize you and modulate you and hold you correctly. Now, after we adjusted these ribs, pulled those ribs back up, kind of the opposite of what a seatbelt did or a harness did, we pushed it back up. You felt the significant change. We muscle tested you, and all of a sudden you could hold the head up in space and not have it gyrate back and forth, or it wasn't giving under the load. I mean, that's enough for a quick thing today.
So you want me to sleep elevated? You want me to wear the collar to prevent me from looking down?
Right, because there's a vasculitis. The jugular vein on the right is all beat up from any movement in your head, turning your head, turning right, the vein. So that is actually one of these CTs when you turn your head. So here we are. No matter which way you turn your head, here you are turning your head to the right, the jugular vein opens up. Here you are turning your head to the left, jugular vein opens up. And then, of course, when you're in the neutral position, the vein gets slammed down. Well, actually, that's not the neutral position, sorry. When you're in the neutral position, the vein gets slammed shut. So we have a collar on you to stop you from moving. You have to cease and desist movement because you're giving yourself a vasculitis. The blood vessel, those veins are just beat up, compressed and released, compressed and released. So yes, collar.
So sleep elevated collar, the jaw forward position for what can be kind of an intermediate step to create some space in the meantime. Before Dr. Epworth will get in there and get rid of the styloids, and then just keep working on trying to come back and trying to get in there to try to get alignment.
Right, I'll do the best I can with what I got to work with. I'll work on this. Obviously today I worked like really hard to move that atlas off the jugular a little bit. I think the whole thing, actually I think once we moved it, the thing probably swelled up a little bit. But you're gonna take a little aspirin to get the blood thin. You're gonna stop moving your neck, let the swelling go down. You're gonna, You cannot look down.
Yeah, down's, we already know down's no good, but now we know why. Now we know why. Okay. And call Dr. Epworth immediately, get on the schedule, we'll get going.
Yeah, you get on the schedule, we'll write him a report, we'll make him react.
Copy. Yeah, copy that. Okay. All right.
And I would like to see you in 3 days. I would,
Monday-ish.
Monday, absolutely. See you next week. The swelling will go down by then, and it'll be good. You can really, we improved some stuff today.
Yeah, I'm hopeful.
Right, so that sound you had in your ear,
Much better.
much better.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been this good since.
It has never been fully gone. This is about as good as it gets. So I'm hoping over time here, like you said, hopefully it'll get better. Hopefully from here it'll just continue to get all the way gone.
Right. Right, so you usually have to have a bite guard in your mouth holding your jaw forward for it to be released like it is now?
Oh yeah.
Right, so you're going to put that bite guard in tonight.
Yeah. I hate wearing it at night, but I wear it as much as humanly
you know
possible.
What? Right. Good. You're going to get a CPAP machine, for the love of God.
And a CPAP.
Oh my gosh,
So that, yeah.
dude. Okay, so I don't know who's telling you that you don't need a CPAP machine, but that is not the case. That is not the case. So whatever you got to do to get one, and you're going to obviously get one with an app, so you can measure your own airflow at night. I too went and had a sleep study. I went and they did one sleep study, but with these new apps and these new machines, I've done a couple thousand sleep studies on myself because I evaluate it every night. I play with different angles. I play with different things. All right, so here we are looking at your airway. From the front, you look okay, not too bad. Then when we go sideways, right up in here, look, that's right behind the mouth. The airway gets really small in there. And then when you fall asleep, I'm sure it's not even as good as it is here. So you're going to get something to pressurize the nasopharynx. You're going to get a nose pillow. You're not going to pressurize the mouth. You're going to pressurize here, which will open that up and it will give you more energy, more brain clarity. You're being choked internally by your styloids and by whatever soft tissue injury has occurred in here. The nervous system is not, the tone of your autonomic nervous system is not like it should be.